Hey, good morning, folks. Pastor Stephen back again with another No Frills daily devotional. And today's topic is titled Revolution. All right. And so we're going to be talking a lot from First Peter today about a new way to fight that Peter has stumbled upon at this stage in his life. All right. And so I don't know if you know this or not, but all revolutions throughout history, right? Whether it's Fidel Castro in Cuba, or the Nazi Revolution in Germany, or the Communist Revolution in China, all those revolutions have pretty much the same MO, where there's a lot of death, there's a lot of destruction, where there's this pursuit of freedom to push a personal agenda, right? And when Jesus comes on the scene, okay, when he comes on the scene, he comes on the scene in Jerusalem, where there's this oppression from the Roman army, the Roman occupation of Jerusalem. Okay, that's what's going on when Jesus comes on the scene. Okay, and so there's this oppression that the people are facing, not only from the Roman occupation, but then also there's this puppet regime where Herod is king of Judah, or king of Israel at the time, but he's mostly just a puppet that the Roman army has installed in Jerusalem. And so he's bringing oppression also on the people. And so when Jesus comes on the scene, the heart cry that they've got going on is revolution, revolution. Yes, here comes the Messiah, the promised king, who's going to flip everything on its head, and we're going to reign as our own rulers. And the reality is, that's not what Jesus came to do. Yes, he did come to flip the world on its head and change things, but he wasn't there to push a personal agenda, and he didn't come so that you and I could push our personal agenda, all right? And so when Jesus died on the cross, to the people who were sitting there, who had all this faith in him that he was the promised Messiah, suddenly he became this failed Messiah, because it felt like the revolution didn't happen, okay? But the reality was that Jesus' death on the cross was just the beginning, all right? Now I'm going to take you to the text today, and this is 1 Peter, and I'm going to be reading in 1 Peter chapter 2, and I'm going to be reading verse 16, all right? And Peter's writing this. Again, this is a new way to fight mentality that Peter stumbled upon. And he says this. He says, live as free men, but do not use your freedom as a cover-up for evil. Rather, live as servants of God. Now, Peter is this guy who was pretty brash and pretty bold. Okay, if you read the Gospels, that's Peter's story. Okay, but now here, as he's writing this letter at a later stage in his life, he's learned a new way to live, and he's learned a new way to fight, and he's learned it through his relationship with Jesus. Okay, where now he's telling us to live as free men, but to do it as servants. And so what I see here is there's this tension here, because I'm told I'm supposed to live as a free man, but then I'm told to be a servant of God. Now, aren't those two things opposing ideas, Peter? I mean, come on, live as a free man, but live as a servant of God. Well, anytime you see that tension, realize that there's a deeper truth, okay? And so what's the deeper truth? It's that freedom carries with it, personal freedom carries with it a great deal of responsibility. Okay, I don't know if you know that or not, but freedom carries with it, true freedom carries with it a great deal of responsibility, because Jesus didn't die. I don't know if you know this or not, okay, but here's the thought. Jesus didn't die so that you can live the life that you want to live, okay? Jesus didn't die so that you can live the life that you want to live. Rather, Jesus died so that you can live the life that he lived. Okay, let that sink just for a second, right? He didn't die so that you can live the life that you want to live. Well, that's freedom. I can do what I want. I can live how I want. True, that's the freedom that the world sells, but that's not freedom. Real freedom is you gaining freedom and then using it not for your personal advantage, but to use it to promote other people, to lift up other people, to glorify God. I'm going to show you it again in scripture. Like John is going to write this. This is a similar passage, and it's in 1 John 3:16. Okay, not John 3:16, which John also wrote, but 1 John 3:16. And John says this: "This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers." And what I see John talking about here is the same thing that Peter's talking about, where we've been given freedom. That's what Jesus' death on the cross provided for us. It provided freedom for us, but not freedom for us to live how we want to live, rather to live the life that Jesus lived. And what was the life that Jesus lived? Jesus lived a laid down life. Jesus lived a life of serving others, of humbling himself, even though he was God, but humbling himself to lift up others. It's a new way to fight, but it's a better way to live. Hey, you guys, have an awesome, awesome day. Be blessed.